Hi. Okay, so luckily because we are in Corona pandemic still and we're still social distancing, I can sit this close to my child because we have been quarantined together. So, we wanted to talk today to everyone is about just kind of what the seniors went through this year, graduating from high school and not, not having your traditional graduation ceremonies, really missing out on a lot of your high school experience. And then these kids are going to college now. So we are going to talk about that with Julia. She is my tech person. So hi, Julia. Good morning.
Hi.
I'm going to move your coffee so we don't have a disaster. Julia, congratulations on your recent graduation.
Thank you.
So she turned 19 on the day that she ended up having her formal ceremony. So it was a big day, but because we live in Arizona, we had a 7:30 a.m. Graduation ceremony. So that was really, really early. But let's go back a little bit and talk about just life when the coronavirus first started. So when coronavirus first started, we were happily in the second semester of her senior year. She was she plays tennis, and that's a spring sport, so she just started that. And we were going to Disney World for spring break, which we did. And at the time that we did that, it was all the regulations and all of the things that we were hearing from doctors and the specialists and the experts really was just be smart. Like, live your life, wash your hands, pretend that it's a really bad flu season, be smart. Don't share spoons, whatever. So we took that advice at hand and we got to Disney World, and the next day they announced they were going to close Disney World. So that was super special. And so the whole time we were pretty nervous. Julia is really the safety person in our family. So she's like hand sanitizing everybody after every ride and yelling at her sisters if they scratch their face, the whole 9 yards. But when we came back, we learned that you weren't going to go back to school for a week. At first it was like 1 week, no school. And how'd you feel about that?
I think most of the seniors were pretty happy because we wanted more break. So I think it was actually pretty
Yeah, like the
fun
first
to
week was
have. Yeah.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
But then it rolled into 2 weeks and then 3 weeks. And then things started getting canceled. Like the tennis season they realized was going to be canceled and, things like that. So tell me about that. Tell me about your feelings for second semester. You've worked so hard, you studied hard, you've taken all the ACTs, you've done all the preps, and you're kind of coasting. You're in the second coast of your senior year, and it just got cut. So talk to me about that.
Well, I think like after spring break, second semester is usually supposed to be a semester where you kind of like you got into a college, you know where you're going, you're done with tests. It's kind of more of fun semester where you get mostly just like spend time with your friends and stuff. So I think we were looking forward to things like tennis season for seniors, especially like senior night and a senior fashion show, which our school does at the end, and a ditch day. And
so what's a ditch day? I think most people know, but
I think it's when the seniors like decide what day to skip and like no seniors show up at school. So
we didn't do that in my high school. So that seemed like a pretty fun thing to look forward to. And y'all had a big picnic coming up that was pretty over the top, a pretty big deal.
It's I think my whole class was actually really excited for the whole thing, but
yeah. So you have all these things that are kind of easy. It's like, I think the first half of your senior year, as we all know, all of us who have graduated high school, you're still having to work pretty hard. You're still studying. Because your transcript's going to be sent to your college. So you still want to make good grades. You don't want to lose any scholarships, things like that. But by like spring break, I think even the hardest core seniors, and students are probably
you're kind of
coasting a little bit. And looking forward to like the fun part of school. And so that little by little things would get canceled. So it was like, no more tennis, no more. We're going to really try and do the picnic, or we're really going to try and do the fashion show, because those things were like later in May and towards the end of the school year. And little by little, those things were canceled. And then prom was canceled.
Yeah.
you know. Luckily, we had not gotten a dress. Like, sometimes being a procrastinator pays off. I was like, thank God, thank goodness that we don't have a dress yet. But that was really no fun. And then, so the senior picnic ditch day, prom was canceled, and then they had they canceled their graduation. But your school did a drive-through graduation. So how was that?
Well, I think for me it was kind of like this is a little sad because you don't get to see any teachers, you don't get to like shake hands, you don't get to pretty much, I mean, you don't see any friends, but it was fun actually because...
I mean, I think they made the best of it.
Yeah, it was actually pretty fun because the teachers lined up across the road and like they waved and like screamed, and it was pretty fun.
And we got to decorate the car.
Yeah, we decorated the cars. You dressed up in your cap and gown. You took pictures.
Well, the fun thing was for hers, they actually, at the beginning of the line, they hand you your cap and gown.
Oh, yeah.
Because we hadn't gotten that yet. And then you get real fast. You have to kind of put it on in the car. Mm-hmm. And then we got to the chapel because she went to a Catholic high school. And you kind of hang out the window or the sunroof or however you want. Yeah. And they take your picture with your cap and gown on and holding your diploma in front of the chapel, which was fun because I think at that point they didn't know if they would be able to have a ceremony. And if they did, would it be in August, And so I think that even though it was way less formal, I thought it was fun. I kind of was
I liked it, yeah.
I'd be okay with that, And then they were really hoping to have another graduation ceremony, a formal one in late June. And that got canceled. And then I think some parents actually really pushed the administration to do something. And because we live in Arizona, you can't just really, midsummer, an outdoor graduation ceremony is like, you're going to kill people. People will die. And so we had a cool week here in Arizona where it wasn't, it wasn't 111 degrees or whatever. And so they announced like just a couple of days in advance, 7:30 a.m., two people per graduate. So basically mom and dad or, and show up at 6:45. Mm-hmm. The ceremony's at 7:30. It's outdoor. Every other row in the stadium.
6 feet apart, spread out.
All the chairs were really spread out on the field. And so they did get to walk, which was, I think, now it feels final.
Yeah.
I feel like you graduated.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to college.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about college. You are going to
Creighton University.
Yes, and you are majoring in
bio and pre-med track.
Awesome.
Biology. Yeah.
So if you're a Catholic and you're watching this, you know that Creighton University, they're very well known for their medical program, and they're also known for their work in fertility. Mm-hmm. So there's a Creighton model of fertility treatment for women that's in line with church teaching. So we're super stoked that Julija chose to go there. And let's talk about how you chose. So how do we get to this point?
Well, I applied to about 10 schools, I think, pretty much across the country and even outside of the country, just to kind of give myself
a lot of
options. And actually going to a Catholic school was not my top choice. I definitely, just because going to a Catholic middle school and Catholic high school, I was kind of, no more theology classes. Like, I don't want to do that. And
she thought she was done.
Yeah, but then
the Lord had other plans for you, I think.
I just kept hearing about Creighton. Everyone was like, oh, did you apply to Creighton, or are you going, have you heard about it? I said no, and I kind of forgot about it for a while because it's in Nebraska, and
we have no connection to Nebraska. We have good friends from Nebraska, but that's our only connection to Nebraska.
Yeah, but I applied, and then I got in.
So, okay, let me brag on her a little bit because that's what moms do. She got in everywhere she applied domestically. We looked at tons of colleges, and we even looked at colleges she didn't apply to. And we would go to every college, and she would be like, and we would do the tours, and we'd walk around, and we'd have lunch, and she'd go, oh, it's so beautiful. And we'd leave, and my husband and I would say, do you see yourself here? Do you think it might be where you'd want to go? And she'd say, I don't think so. Every single college. And I was starting to think, well, we might have an issue. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So anyways, when she went to see Creighton, she and her dad, my husband, flew her out in January, just the two of them. And tell us kind of what happened when you got there.
Well, it was winter, so it was cold. But I liked that. So that was the first thing that kind of I loved about Creighton and the city. And then we walked onto campus, and I was kind of, my first thing was to kind of feel like it was home for me. That's what I wanted first. And every campus we visited, we kind of, it didn't really feel like it. So Creighton kind of, almost immediately felt like that was going to be my second home.
Yeah.
Which I was really happy because
Yeah.
that's what I wanted exactly. And it's in the middle of a city, but it doesn't feel like it's in the middle of a city. So it wasn't.
You have the perks of a city and fun restaurants, but you feel like you're in a tight knit college community. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me say a couple things. So I'm home with our other children. John takes Julia to Creighton, and he's kind of like, he's an Arizona guy. He likes the heat. He likes the desert. He hates the snow. Julia, though, was born in Eastern Europe, and so for her, having snow and cold and seasons is really important to her. And she kind of misses that, living here in Arizona now, because we lived in Colorado before we moved here. And she said, I really want cold. I want snow in winter. I like gray skies, when you're supposed to have gray skies. And so John's kind of, not begrudgingly, but he's like, okay, we're going to go. I'm going to freeze, but it'll be fine. So they go, and he loved it, I think, more than he expected. He was like,
he actually did.
Omaha is so cool. It's a neat city. He was so impressed with the kids, so impressed with the campus. But they had a tour. Tell us about the tour. Tell us about, let's see, I think one of the things that y'all were really impressed about is like the dorm situations.
So the dorms is what they have is, since it's a Catholic university, in every dorm, a building, they have RAs, but they also have priests who just live there, and they kind of help the RAs, but they're also there for just students, kind of, if you are struggling with faith, or if you just need to talk, or if you're just having a bad day or something. They're just there, living there, and you can literally knock on their door and they'll just
to me, that was something pretty cool, because I don't know that is always the case for a Catholic university. I did not go to a Catholic university, so I don't have a lot to say on that, but I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of having a priest in every single dorm building, and so that gives a mom a comfort. I know that was something that you and Dad were really impressed about. And then you also talked about the university church.
Yeah, so Creighton has it's a long, just like a long strip of, it's spread, like the buildings are just like a long line, I guess. And in the middle there's a church, and it's their church, St. John's. Yeah, that's what it's called. And 5 minutes away from where I want to live. And
tell us what it looks like.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so pretty.
So when she and John were there, when you go on trips and you go to a church, and I think the one thing that Catholics do really well is we really appreciate the beauty and the truth and the goodness of art and of music. Not to say other faiths don't, but I think we excel at that. And I know when I was in college, my university church was like, looked like something out of the Brady Bunch. We had a faithful priest, and I was super fortunate to have that parish there, so close to campus. But it was, it wasn't something that, like, when I walked in, I was inspired by just the goodness. I went for the Eucharist. I went to feed my soul, Jesus. But John and Julia, when they were at Creighton, they were sending pictures of the inside, of the ceiling, of the stained glass. It was really, really a special, I think, church there.
Yeah.
there's pictures of you jumping in front of the church and sitting on the steps in front. Now, when y'all went to Mass there, did you see anyone you knew?
No, but it was one of the days where admitted students came, and so when you say peace be with you, kind of just people turn around and say, hi, my name is this and this, and my daughter will be going here, so like, nice to meet you. So
that's fun.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that. That's super fun.
So
okay, so so many reasons I think that when she went to Creighton, it seemed like just God was saying, this is it, you're done. A couple things. She has some friends from Colorado who maybe their older siblings go to Creighton, and the first student she ran into on campus was the sister of one of her good friends from her middle school days. So that was, just fun. It just gives you, I think it gave you a sense of comfort and peace and like, I know somebody. And then another one of your good friends from Colorado was there.
Yeah.
Because she's going to play golf next year there. And so you didn't see her, but y'all figured out y'all were both there at the same time. So it was just little things like that kept happening. But I think it ended with they were coming home, and because it was winter, there was a snowstorm or something, and their flight was canceled. You want to tell this story?
So, yeah, our flight got canceled, and we knew there was a basketball game going on, and they played Gonzaga, which is their biggest rival, I think. Yeah.
And we should say she'd also gotten into Gonzaga, and that was the last school she was kind of going between Creighton and Gonzaga. Yeah. So Gonzaga and Creighton are playing basketball in this huge basketball game.
Yeah. And so we went and we decided just to see if we could get into the game and stuff. And so they didn't have any tickets left, but then the lady at the counter she said, oh, there's, we have 2 tickets saved just in case. So she gave it to us. And then my dad, we kind of realized that it was literally up front. Almost
amazing tickets.
Really good seats. And basketball games there are actually so fun.
And it was sold out because they were ranked really high this year. They've got an excellent basketball team. And so the game had already started. They had rushed there from the airport and, tried to get tickets. Oh no, we're sold out. And she was like, but here's 2 for you. Just have a nice day. And they got to sit in the front, near the team. And that was pretty cool. So by the time they came home, they were both on cloud 9, really. So I think between the medical program, the faith community, and just the culture, it seems like it was such a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've picked our college. We're so happy. Thank you, Jesus, because we've looked at a lot. We've said no to a lot. So we're going to Creighton. What's that going to look like? Because now you're moving across the country during a pandemic.
So they do Creighton for summer before you go. They do, it's like a summer preview is what they call it, is where you go to Creighton and you spend there 2 days on campus with students, like orientation, everything like that. But since COVID happened, we're doing it online, which is actually really fun because they made, they spread it out on Zoom and made it really fun. But going to Creighton in August, I don't know exactly when yet, but they're spreading moving dates throughout the week, so nobody will be there together at the same time. Parents get to be there for 2 hours.
We thought we would go and maybe stay for several days and take her out to eat and all this stuff, but that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
We're in and out. So I think the idea is if they spread it out over the course of a week instead of just one weekend, and they give people, here's your move-in slot. You've got 2 hours on Monday. You've got 2 hours in the afternoon on Tuesday. So we'll have our day and our time. And I think it's going to be a well-oiled machine. It seems like it's going to be pretty efficient. They're going to have people there to help us get in and get out. And then after that, what is it going to look like?
So they're planning on quarantining us for, I think, about a month, probably, to just see how it goes. They're requiring us to wear masks to class. They're providing us with their own masks. And then they're screening us every single day before we go to class, taking our temperature and just making sure we're not
Because people are coming from out of the country. you know, all over the world, all over the country. And so that seems like such a smart thing to do to really like the campus will be on lockdown for a month.
Yeah.
Even the food service, they said, will be
online to goes.
Like grab and go. Things will be pre-made. You can go in and get it, but they aren't going to have, you know, community eating. So I think some of the normal freshman experience is going to be lost.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different.
But I think they told the parents, send your student maybe with a yoga mat, because they said we're going to do as much as we can to have your student feel like they're having a great freshman year, and we want them to you know, quickly form community. They have a Greek system, but they do it in the spring. So, I mean, everybody's kind of on an even playing field the first semester. And so they said a lot of our activities where we will be forming community, your student's going to be outside and going to be socially distanced from people, but in a group, you know. So they're doing the things that they need to do, I think, to make parents feel good and to be as safe as they can. They're also starting school a little early, foregoing fall break. And then
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And so you'll have a really long Christmas break, which will be nice. Doing just kind of enjoying life, and hopefully you get to go back in the spring. Yeah. That's what we're planning on. Okay, so any last minute thoughts, or are you just excited now you're doing your dorm shopping?
Yeah, it's a little hard, but it's okay.
That's fun. That's fun. That's the biggest thing I think we've got right now. Okay, hang on. We've got some. Oh, what is your plan to maintain your faith while at college? On one hand, it's a Catholic school, so it's everywhere. But on the other hand, your faith is such a personal thing. What do you anticipate being a challenge?
For me, I think first having a church 5 minutes away from your dorm is going to be big, because I'm used to going to mass every single Sunday, and my parents won't be there with me at, you know, school. So I think it's going to give me a little bit of like, there you have a church like next to you, so it's going to, you know, it's going to be easier for me to not make an excuse of, oh, I don't want to go this Sunday, or and another thing, it's a Catholic school, but it doesn't mean that everyone is a Catholic there,
right?
But I think plenty of students will, and I think it's just, I'll see kids going to church and it will kind of motivate me to go. And it's kind of nice to have, you know, just to sit and like kind of reflect and just kind of have a downtime for an hour where you don't stress about school all the time, and kind of.
You know, Julia went to a summer program in Scotland last summer. She did a program at the University of St. Andrews. And on the first, you know, day, she said, where's the Catholic church that I can go to? And will I be able to go to Mass? And the counselor said, one of the kind of student advisors said, oh, absolutely. I'll make sure you know where it is. And a lot of our students will be going to Mass, so you'll be in good company. And I think that was kind of fun for her to be on her own and go to Mass. But there was a group of kids that went, you know, you text and call and you're like, oh my gosh, like a bunch of us went and had brunch afterwards. So I think as you get older, learning to make, your faith life and your Catholic faith kind of a community. Obviously, it's very personal, but to find friends that enjoy going and maybe enjoy lunch afterwards and sharing in that faith, I think is helpful for any student, whether you're at a Catholic college or not.
Yeah.
So, and take advantage of that priest that's in your
I know.
that's in your building. Like,
I know.
Talk to him when you need him, and go to confession when you need to, and things like that. So, all right. Well, are you excited to leave the nest?
I am. I'm ready.
She's ready.
Yeah.
She's ready, and I can say from a parent's perspective, she's very ready. So we are excited. She's done a great job in high school, and I think she's gonna just do awesome in college. Okay, so we're gonna sign off, but I'm gonna hop on the podcast as always. We podcast on Wednesdays. We share that podcast on Friday. So if you want to hear what Frayne and I have up our sleeves, which we've got some kind of juicy topics that we're going to be talking about today, we hope you join us and listen to the podcast on Wednesday. Also, if you like this live stream video and this conversation I had with Julia, especially if you're a parent or you've got kids or nieces or nephews, or you've got friends with kids going off to college and you want to share it with them. Please make sure you like and comment on this video and share it. We love that. And also, we appreciate your feedback. If you have anything you want to tell us or anything you want to suggest to us, please let us know in the comments. So thank you so much and have a great day.